dramatically interesting times ourselves. We're on the cusp of all-purpose AI, or general artificial intelligence, which may or may not, depending on whose opinion you take, completely collude to eliminate every one of us as soon as they start talking to each other. Or, in its more benign form, take all our jobs and completely alter the human experience forever. The plague, the doomsday clock, which is ticking alarmingly close to the finish line. Radical autocrats planning to live forever, according to Putin, who's planning to replace all his organs. 6 or 7 men who have all the money between them and plan to use their nefarious technologies to rule the world from their technocratic bunkers after they've blown us all up. And nature, which is doing its level best to hold the fort as an orange man threatens with cries of "Drill, baby, drill," and "Make America great again." So yeah, it's really interesting times. So we're all on the front line. In my personal experience, large language models have already decimated newsrooms the world over, rendering journalism as we know it almost obsolete, and finishing off what social media started, so that nobody knows the truth. It makes me wish I could visit the Oracle of Delphi for some kind of insight. I mean, it's as good as any. She could sit, ingest the toxins or whatever she was ingesting and give me a nice, comfortable riddle in hexameter and send me on my way. So our Greek forefathers did in fact have some good stuff to say on the subject, and I have found it really useful. So I'm going to share it with you today as a kind of reminder primarily to myself, because I keep on forgetting it. So, starting with Heraclitus, who said, "Ta panda ri," everything changes. So just take that as a given, it's the baseline condition. And if everything changes, how do you make sense of things when the old ideas that promised an easy life, following the steps of your parents, seem short-sighted and foolish at best? I come back to the oracle. Maybe she had the answers after all. Those Greeks understood something fundamental about the nature of things. The oracle can't give you the answers unless you do the work yourself. What work, you ask? Well, you guys have the answer on your badges. Gnosis afton. Outside the entrance to the oracle, this statement, along with many other very helpful statements, if only you'd read them regularly, were carved into the wall, but this was the most important one. They may as well have tattooed it on her forehead. Know yourself. Easier said than done. Why? You think you know yourself. You are an entity called Alex, Sipo, Aspasia, but as Heraclitus said, you never stepped in the same river twice. Are you the same Alex who was sucking her thumb? And the same Alex who went to nursery school and took her naps reluctantly? Are you the same one who grew a pimple and studied for the prelims? And is the river the same? Or is everything changing all the time? Are you more like the Pythia, who was the name of the oracle, a python shedding its skin all the time, reinventing itself, becoming something new? So how can you ever know yourself? So are you perhaps the voice in your head? Plato and his teacher Socrates said you probably should not trust that voice, because we're all in a cave, feet bound and our necks in a brace, so we can't move our heads, and just looking at the shadows on the back wall. And what are those shadows? They're just reflections from some guys called the thaumaturgi, miracle workers, shadow creators, who have lit a fire behind a wall and are creating all sorts of puppets and animated humanoids and renditions of the real things, and have set them in motion. And we, the poor prisoners, believe that we are seeing and hearing the truth on our screens. He actually said screens, which are addicted. Now we're addicted to them. Hey, here I am with my screen, They're practically attached to us 24/7, and if Zuckerberg and Musk have anything to do with it, the screen will be installed by a chip into our brains. Or those glasses, the Google Glass, is going to be great. It's an alarmingly accurate rendition of our present situation, where our grip on objective truth is very limited, and our so-called reality is manipulated on a grand scale by algorithms, advertisers, marketers, social networks, politicians, technocrats, and all the other tavmaturiri. The Matrix is based on this, and all sorts of people are now popping red pills on the internet, what have you. Anyway, but it's based on this very same allegory. It does not help that our brain, our own brain, is doing it to us as well. Our neurobiology is built like a sieve. We only perceive a smidgen of what is going on around us, otherwise our poor little brain would actually explode. So you all probably know that gorilla suit experiment, where they ask the subjects to count things, like they're looking at a screen and they say, okay, count the guys in the blue jackets, or count the red cars going past. And then they ask them, who saw the guy in the gorilla suit going past? And most people never noticed the gorilla suit because they were too busy counting the blue jackets, the sea of blue jackets. So hardly anybody sees the gorilla. So our brain and our memory is a selective storyteller, our very own Thavmatuwas. It's also a big egotist and thinks it's in charge of us. But the reality is that we're a very complex neurological creature. When we lay down our neural pathways, and this is what it looks like in the womb, this is the brain, this is the spine, this is the heart, and this is the gut. And we lay down the same amount of neural pathways of all those things. And when they do the research now, they say the heart has as many neural pathways as the brain, as does the gut. So that is the kind of creature that we are. So we're like an octopus, more like an octopus than a human, because the octopus has a brain in every leg. You can die of a broken heart, and your gut instinct is shouting its warnings all the time. But we have an idea that the thoughts in our head are driving all our behavior. Plato knew this. He said we're like a charioteer. We have the so-called rational mind, yes, but we're also two horses. The black one of our unruly emotions and desires, the gut, the white one of our spirit animal, our heart. And unless you get everyone on the same page, you are going nowhere fast. That is why the Greeks believed a healthy mind is a healthy body, and a healthy body is a healthy mind. You need to integrate all these forces in yourself. You need to know them all. You need to know yourself in your entirety. You need to metamorphose into a Ganda girl, a centaur. You need to be one thing. But what does that help you if you're still stuck, looking at the back of the cave, a passive prisoner, locked in, unable to move your head, just listening to all the things the demagogues want you to see and believe and take for the truth? The process of getting to know yourself, of understanding your true nature, is the thing that will free you. And that is your life's work, because of that damn river, which keeps changing. The python shedding your skins. So the answers are really inside of you. If you do, you will get to move your neck so that you drop your blinders and turn yourself around. You will unchain your feet and direct your horses towards the light. But it's not easy. That's what Socrates said. Firstly, the light is blinding. You can get fried. Then you have to look in the mirror, and that can be its own dead end. You end up like Narcissus, taking endless selfies, projecting your own nonsense back to yourself. And finally, committing suicide. That's what happened to him. You may not be able to let go of your own illusions. You may not be able to become the moon and use the mirror to reflect the light, like Artemis, who is Apollo's twin sister. You may not be able to deal with your shadow side, So you go back to the cave, where you knew the lay of the land. Anyway, it's much more comfortable there. Others won't believe you anyway. But I have to ask you, do you have any better ideas right now? All the world's a stage, said Shakespeare, but that shadow play is pretty bleak. And they are busy replacing you with some very clever animated humanoids any time now. You have to look at the sun. It's the only rational choice. But what is the sun? Who is this Apollo whose oracle we seek answers from? Socrates and Plato are telling us that it is you, your own sun-like, godlike nature. You are an endlessly creative force. All the muses are your handmaidens. All the science and music is your birthright. The sun that shines light out and is the self-sustaining light itself. So clever and so creative, it has practically remade all-purpose intelligence as if for the first time. And you're also Dionysos, who ran the oracle for 3 months of the year, whilst Apollo went on holiday to the Hyperboreans. The earth, the cave itself, this embodied physical life. The horses. The only answer is to truly know yourself. It feels more necessary than ever.